basketball!
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the pod. These are my co-hosts, Kevin, Daniel, and Miles. And the in-season tournament has kicked off. I know a lot of people are confused about it. Even NBA players are confused about it. And Tyrese Halliburton actually had an idea about the in-season tournament. The winner, what he gets is that what team wins it, they would get an automatic playoff lock. And personally, I don't think that's a great idea, but I want to get what you guys think about that.
I mean, I feel like whichever team wins it is probably going to be a contender, even though it is like single elimination past the group stages. I feel like the greater teams are going to excel through that portion of the tournament. So, I mean, it makes sense. There could be like a Cinderella story, but to me, it's kind of just whatever. I feel like the team that wins it is already going to be a team that is going to be a contender and a team that already makes the playoffs. I don't know. I guess Tyrese. I guess that makes sense.
I feel like if that was the case, that would just be paving the way for the Miami Heat to get a playoff spot. Because I feel like that team in general would try extra hard in it to make sure they get a spot, especially this year with the stronger East. But that's first impression of what Tyrese Halliburton said.
I mean, I've been saying since last year that I thought the in-season tournament needed something more to incentivize the players other than just money, and to obviously incentivize the fans to want to watch the tournament in general. I think, yes, it is going in the right direction to say, okay, you guys get, a playoff spot guaranteed or something like that. But even then, I honestly wouldn't fight for that, because like Kevin said, if you have a play, or if you're playing that tournament and you win it, you're most likely a contending team already. But Miles said like the Heat would probably win that. In the Heat's case, they're probably making the playoffs in the East anyway. So to me, like winning that championship wouldn't do anything for them other than giving them a play-in spot or something like that. I still think that there could be more done, honestly, than just giving them an automatic, spot in the play-in, or sorry, in the playoffs. But as to what that could be, I have no idea. There's nothing really on the table that I can think of that Adam Silver can present to the players and to the fans and say, hey, like, this is why you should care about this. Right now, it's cool to watch, but that's about it.
See, when I saw this, someone made a great comment, and I thought it made a lot of sense, is if that was the case, they get a playoff lock, they could just tank the whole regular season after that if they get that playoff lock, so then it wouldn't take away from making the regular season competitive. So I think it's not a good option after hearing that comment that someone said about if Tyrese Halliburton's idea went through. But I do like the NBA's direction of going towards this in-season tournament, trying to make the more regular season games count and make it more competitive and fun for viewers to engage. I think what they're trying to do is dope. I like the courts. I'm not too big of a fan of the jersey, but I think they could. I think this is just a step of the right direction of getting the regular season where it needs to be.
I think the first day of the tournament started off pretty strong. I mean, when I was watching the games, like the atmosphere was great. It literally seemed like they were playing a playoff game. And some of the players even said that too. Draymond Green said in the post press conference interview that it felt like playoff energy out there. So I don't really know what the hell Daniel's talking about. But it seems like the players definitely are invested into this. I mean, I really like how they have these games count towards the regular season record. I mean, yeah, there are 82 games in a year, but you don't want to lose too many games early on. And it's another trophy to add to the case. It's something cool to use. Back to what Vic said about the courts, I think the courts are actually trifling as fuck.
I was about to say, bro. I was like, that's a hot take,
bro. That is a hot take in itself. Some of the jerseys are cool. I don't really mind the jerseys, whatever. But the courts are actually absolutely trifling, bro. I was watching when the Bulls played the Nets. They played the Nets for their first playoff game, or for their first play-in tournament game, and they lost, of course. And the court was just a bright ass red, bro. Like my eyes were actually killing me. Like by the third quarter of the game, I had to turn the game off because like I was literally getting a headache, bro. I couldn't do it anymore.
They don't have no. Listen,
no, I'm being so for real, bro. Like I could, my head was hurting.
They don't have the wood grain in them either. Like it's just like smooth. Yeah. It's like a clay court if you've ever played on one of those.
Yeah, like those rubber courts in like elementary school. Elementary school had, yeah.
That's
Like,
crazy.
bro, yeah, those courts are just not it, bro. Because it'll be one solid ass color and then a bright ass color all the way down the middle.
Yeah, I
All
don't
right,
like the
see,
Like
middle
that's
stripe. It's
all
so
right,
like,
weird.
bro, they sold on these courts, bro. Sold.
I'll agree. The only thing about the courts I don't like is that middle stripe going all the way through, but I do like a lot of them in general. I'm not a fan of like most of them. I think the worst one is the Nuggets because their jerseys match the floor. It was kind of hard to see them on the plane.
Yeah, I agree
Yeah.
with that actually.
Like it was kind of tough. I thought Toronto had the dopest. They haven't played a game on their court yet, but I saw like a picture of it. It was black and gold. I thought it looked pretty cool. It wasn't too like out there in your face. Like I thought it was like a really nice, clean look. So shout out to Six.
I thought the Bucks one was like the most normal, and
Yeah.
even then I was not a fan of it. I don't know why the stripe in the middle was lime green when their color is like a darker green. Like it just didn't make
Yeah.
sense. I was so confused.
And
I
now
think it matched their city jersey. I think their city jersey has a lime hint, but it just looked weird.
but now I think their city jerseys are mostly blue, which also confuses me because the Bucks have never like been a blue team. Like they've always green
Exactly.
and white. Like I don't know. I just don't get it. These teams are getting a little bit too creative.
Yeah, I
No,
feel like
Nike.
yeah, Nike for sure.
It is Nike. Leave it up
I
to
think
Nike.
I think
Stripes over checks.
they're almost ruining the nostalgia of these jerseys, like changing them every year. Because like I think like when they first came into the league, like those jerseys were sick, the city edition jerseys. But now it's just like a new jersey every year. It's like too much, man.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know. I think I would get bored if I saw the same jerseys 3 years in a row. I'm not gonna lie,
I
but
my bad, go ahead, sorry.
I was just gonna say, just to be clear, you guys aren't saying that you're against the NBA having different courts for the play-in. They're just not as good as what we want them to be.
I think like a new court design would be cool, but like the design that they have, bro, like one solid color for like the main floor and then a stripe down the middle that
Yeah.
just completely offsets everything. Like it's just not a good look. I feel like they tried really hard to be like, oh yo, this is gonna be sick. And it's just like not. Like
Yeah, it's just not it.
I've seen maybe two or three courts that I like. Maybe two or three.
When I saw the initial post from, I think it was Bleacher Report or ESPN, and they showed all of them, there's some really cool ones in there. But like you said, I mean, the biggest thing that Miles brought up that was like, yeah, that's definitely true is the fact that it's like you said, it's all one solid color. There's no like break in the floor where you can kind of see that it's a court. It just looks like a flat piece of like concrete that they basically spray painted or something. So, yeah, I mean, they're not looking the greatest, but I'm excited that they're trying something new. I hope next year, like people are complaining about how they took away like the finals logo on the courts during playoffs and stuff like that. So I mean, anything's good at this point to for the fans, I guess you could say.
I did see a quick solution to like the NBA city jerseys because they give every team a new one every year. Someone suggested to do it like the MLB, where they do like I think it's like a quarter of the league every few years. So you basically get one every 3 years as a team, but in the league, like 7 teams or so get a New Jersey every year, if that makes sense. I don't know if I explained that well,
That does.
No,
I
I
get what
get
you
it.
mean.
but it just like cycles through, but it's not as often. So you can, like, all the jerseys feel more valuable still. One thing I will say though, have you guys seen the Atlanta Hawks city jersey?
Oh, they're terrible.
Mm.
Dude, I fuck with them though. I like the lowercase ATL on them. I don't know
It
why.
it can't be worse than the Bulls.
Oh,
Oh, dude,
it's not.
I thought they were the worst ones to be honest with you.
I was about to say,
Atlanta's
Yeah.
over the Heat culture or the Denver Nuggets city jerseys for real?
Okay, then I forgot about the Nuggets
Denver's
ones. The
Denver's are pretty
Nuggets.
bad. They're pretty damn bad.
I thought Denver and the Bulls had the worst. I would honestly take the Heat culture over the Denver and the Bulls ones.
I probably would too. I think I agree with you there.
The best ones have to be the Timberwolves. So
The gradient, yeah, I do like the gradients.
For once, because the Timberwolves historically have had trash uniforms.
Do you remember
except
those gray
in
and
like
pink ones?
yeah, I do remember those.
At Atlanta, I just looked it up. The city jerseys for Atlanta are way better than what they've had in the past years. Like way, way better. Like this is one of them. I don't know if you can
No, those
see
aren't
it.
it.
I know,
Those
but
aren't.
it's like one of the city jerseys. This is like the next one, I think. It's like orangish, but then there's the obviously the one that he said, which is the ATL one. Either way,
Dude, I
those are
like that one.
the no, I will agree with Miles. Those are so much better than that stupid ass big hawk that's in the middle of their jersey. I think that looks stupid, dude. I think that might be
Tripping.
my
I like
least
that.
favorite. No,
I
that might
like
be
those
my
too.
least favorite jersey in the league, honestly.
I'm talking like, bro, the Hawks, the rebrand where they went to like that checker print. You know what I'm talking about on their jerseys? It was like scale print or checker print, and they rebranded to like red and highlighter yellow. That was the
Yeah,
worst
yeah,
rebrand I've seen in the NBA, bro. I fucking hate those jerseys. They're so bad. They're
yeah,
so bad.
yeah. They're pretty bad, bro. Tough to look at.
Yeah.
Looking ahead though at these games Friday. Like I said, last Friday games definitely did not disappoint. We had a lot of good games, but some of the notable ones that caught my eye, especially this Friday, the Lakers will be playing the Suns for each of their first play-in games. Bradley Beal is rumored to be back tomorrow against the Bulls. That's not for sure yet, but hopefully he's able to play this Friday, if not Wednesday, so we can finally see that full and healthy Phoenix Suns team against a full and healthy Lakers team. And the Lakers have been dealing with their struggles too. But this game, I'll probably take Phoenix. I believe they are playing in Phoenix as well, so they'll have that home court advantage. What do you guys think about the Lakers and Suns this Friday? Potential playoff matchup.
I don't really think that the Suns will be able to beat the Lakers, to be completely honest. The start of the season from the games that I've watched, the Suns look good, but not great by any means. They look like they're really trying to find their footing, I guess you could say. I mean, it's obviously very early. This is a new lineup and, a lot of different changes coming their way, so it's possible that that's just something to get used to, but even with the addition of Bradley Beal, I don't think that they're going to be able to beat out this Lakers team that to me is also not looking the greatest in the early part of the season, but to me they just seem like they'll lock in for a playoff or sorry, what is it called again? Mid-season
It,
tournament game. Yeah, it seems like they'll lock in for a mid-season tournament game. As dumb as that fucking sounds as a take, but yeah.
I feel like a playoff lock would really help the Lakers as an incentive.
I do
Really
think
oh
would.
they
yeah,
need it. I think they're one of the teams that I would say would benefit from that.
No, 100%.
I'm gonna be
But
honest.
another go ahead. I was gonna move on, but I forgot I didn't get your take.
No, I was just saying. I'm gonna be honest. I think if we got the Suns and Lakers, if they're fully healthy, I could see the Lakers taking that, but I'm gonna have to go Suns just because we haven't seen all together Beal, Booker, KD, that trio. We haven't seen them play in the regular season yet. I think we saw a little bit of preseason action, but playing against the Lakers, I think the Lakers are going to give them their all. It's going to be a close game, but I do see that I could see the game going either way. To be honest with you, they're both 3-4 right now.
Full transparency, I haven't enjoyed watching either of those teams this season so far. I mean, I just watched the Lakers get blown out by the Magic, and I watched the Spurs get blown out, or I'm sorry, the Suns get blown out by the Spurs twice. So if I had to pick, gut feeling is telling me Lakers. I pick the Lakers a lot though, and they usually lose. So maybe the gut feeling is wrong this time, but I feel like the Lakers will take it.
That's literally why I went with Phoenix too, is because whenever I think the Lakers are gonna win, they just take a dump, basically. AD will forget how to play basketball. All the 3-point shooters that they signed that year will all of a sudden forget how to shoot. I saw a funny TikTok yesterday. It's like the top 5 worst players in the NBA, like oddly specific edition. And it said any elite 3-point shooter that signs with the Lakers. Because when they get to the Lakers, all of a sudden they can't shoot. And that is fucking facts, bro.
Yeah.
Like, that's the most accurate shit I've ever heard in my life. Like, It's kind of, I hate to say it's funny, but whenever these good players go to the Lakers, bro, they just are not good anymore. Like they just literally fall off. Like Kendrick Nunn, he was so promising when he had his first like year or two with the Heat. Went to the Lakers. I'm not sure if he went to the Lakers right after Miami, but when he went to the Lakers, his career pretty much died. Like we haven't heard much from him, or haven't heard from him at all since then.
I,
Lonnie Walker in a way too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Lonnie Walker had a good playoff game where he had like 18 points in the fourth quarter. I can't remember
True.
against which team it was, but he had a moment. Most of these players don't even have a moment when they get to LA.
See, I think the biggest problem with these players signing with the Lakers is they already have so much talent on their roster. It's hard for these players to find minutes. So just them getting minutes there, and then people have such high expectations when these players do sign to the LA.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because LeBron said something in an interview the other day. He said, other than the Heat, the Steelers, and the Patriots, the Lakers are one of the most stable franchises
that
like
is,
ever currently. That is the biggest load of bullshit I think I've ever heard in my life because the Lakers have a new starting lineup every game.
yeah.
Like stable where? It's as stable as this fucking bald spot, if anything. Like I do not understand what he meant by that, bro.
How many
Like the
coaches
Lakers
have
are
they gone
so
through
unstable.
in the last decade? At least
Bro.
3, right? Is it 4 now? I have no idea,
Vogel,
honestly.
I'm not quite sure what the number is, but I know Darvin Ham isn't the answer.
Yeah. Well,
He looks kind of lost out there.
I was gonna say, like, I honestly think it should be talked about a lot more. Like how bad the what's the word I'm looking for? The Lakers are at. I don't think the right word is facilitating, or maybe it's harboring. I don't know. They're not good at having talented players, right? They're not. It doesn't seem like the Lakers are very good at housing these elite teams that have a lot of talent and then do really nothing. I don't know if that's because of a lack of coaching or prioritization on things like shooting and things other than just give the ball to LeBron or AD. Obviously that's not how they're thinking. I'm not saying that they're just relying solely on those two to win them games, but something definitely needs to change. And I think that, like you guys said, I mean, it's pretty evident that when people go to the Lakers now, their career seems to be over. I mean, you look at LeBron's ring during the bubble, and that's a very one-off situation. I'm not saying that it doesn't count, but that's a very unique situation that they were in. And before that, the Lakers hadn't really done anything in a while, and even after that bubble tournament, I still think that they really haven't proved anything. I mean, they were clawing their way to get into the play-in last year, and it's just, I don't know. It doesn't bode well for that team. I don't think going forward. I think something really needs to change, and I don't know if I had made the prediction that this year they would possibly win something, but now that I'm looking at it, I don't think so.
I think you can make the argument that the Lakers are one of the least stable franchises in the NBA in the last few years. Just with
100%.
the Westbrook situation and then LeBron's first year there with Lonzo and all them, that whole deal, and then AD's injuries are a whole nother thing. When they missed the playoffs, that was a whole nother thing. Like they're all over the place all the time.
He
So
just he just must mean when he says stable, he just must mean like the fan base and how much money they're bringing in. Like no shit, yeah, Lakers are one of the biggest teams in the NBA, but on the floor,
no.
like no, they are not stable at all. I know he
Nah,
wasn't meaning it like that, but
I think
still,
he definitely meant it for the reason that we're attacking him for.
yeah.
It's,
hopefully we have the right context.
I'm pretty sure I read the tweet correctly. If I didn't, then you know, I
Fuck
don't
it.
know. But yeah, we've kind of deemed that Ben Simmons is like our player mascot. I'm not gonna lead into talking about Ben Simmons, but I feel like the Lakers are kind of definitely the team that we talk about the most. They always find their way in our episodes, man.
That's
But
true.
it's also not our fault because every post that I see on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, whatever, it's about the Lakers. It's about LeBron. when you turn on the TV, when you turn on TNT or ESPN and they talk about NBA, they're talking about the Lakers. It's really hard to get away with. It'll be like, oh, Victor Wembanyama drops 55 points. What does this do for the Lakers and LeBron's
Yeah,
legacy?
but what about
It
the
always
Lakers?
it always gets tied back. You can't get away from it. Like
The Lakers will literally
so,
be like 32-12 in the middle, like during the season, and they'll still talk about how they can clinch their way back into a potential spot for
yeah,
playoffs.
But
honestly. But
how do you think how do you think the in-season tournament affects LeBron's legacy though?
Yeah, that's
well,
another trophy in the case.
if he wins it, then that's something that he has that Jordan doesn't. You know, can't say nothing about it. But you know what? I'm getting sick of talking about these boys, so I'm going to move on to another game that I have big interest in. And it's their little brother of LA. We got the LA Clippers versus the Dallas Mavericks. Now, we're going to get into it a little bit later in our next segment about the Clippers and their first loss with James Harden on their team. But Dallas starting off the season very hot, 6-1, which I low-key didn't expect. I thought Dallas was going to be a pretty solid team this year, but I wasn't expecting them to have one of the best records to start the season. They're playing pretty well. Their rookie Derek Lively is really filling into his role, which I'm glad to see. He's finally in that starting lineup. Great rebounder, great defender, especially in the paint. That's really what Dallas needed. That's like was one of their biggest holes on their team. They definitely bulked up that perimeter defense a little bit with having Grant Williams out there. But yeah, I see Dallas taking this one, regardless of the Clippers having a four-headed monster of Westbrook, Harden, Kawhi, and Paul George. I see Dallas taking this one for sure. In Dallas too.
Yeah, if I had the Mavericks logo right now, I'd hold it up. I think Mavericks are taking it as well. Luka Magic is kryptonite to any team. So
It's
good
very
point on
true.
Lively though. Lively they really struck gold on him. It's like everything they wanted Porzingis to be.
No, honestly, but Porzingis was just quite literal opposite. Luka also always hoops on the Clippers for some reason. Like the dude would just always ball out against the Clippers, and it's so fun to see. And he was kind of like he was one of my 3 picks this year for person to win an MVP this year. And I think he's living up to that.
Yeah, he's definitely killing it. And for that reason, I'm going to have to go with the Mavericks too. Right now, the Mavericks are 5th in points per game for teams, and they're also 1st in three-pointers made as a team. And I think one of the things that the Clippers are going to struggle with right now is finding how to build that chemistry with the new addition of James Harden. I don't think they're going to have that by Friday's in-season tournament game. And another thing too is the Mavericks aren't great at rebounding, but I think they're slightly better than the Clippers at rebounding for the season thus far. So for those reasons, I'm going to have to go with the Mavericks.
I'm definitely gonna go a little different and say that I think the Clippers do have a really good chance, and so much of a chance that I would say that they might win, just because I think we've talked in length about how. Oh wait, actually, never mind. No, I changed my mind. Dallas will probably win that.
Good boy.
There we go. Let him cook. Let him cook.
There you go. He
There we
started
go.
cooking, but then he was like, nah, brother didn't have the ingredients. But those were like some of the main games that really caught my interest. Another one was the Thunder and Kings. I think that could be a pretty good game. The Thunder definitely gave the Warriors a run for their money last week. Very high scoring game. But I think the Kings will definitely take this one. A little slow start to the season. They're 2-4. I know that they got blown out by how much did they lose by the other night? It wasn't by a little bit.
Did you say the Kings had cut out?
The Kings. Oh yeah, they lost by 25 to the Rockets just
Yeah,
yesterday on Monday.
They got shit
But
on without
but they
De'Aaron
didn't have
Fox.
they did not have De'Aaron Fox, which definitely plays a part. And for some odd reason, Dylan Brooks is shooting 60% from the 3 this year, which dude,
Dude, wait, what's his true
yeah,
shooting percentage? I'm gonna look that up because it's crazy.
bro, like he's actually balling out this year. And
How
it's
many three-pointers made?
And he puts up a decent amount of 3. He puts up at least 3-4 threes a game. And shooting 60% with that is very impressive.
Yeah.
Like even when he was on Memphis, he was putting up 3, 4, 5 threes a game. That was kind of his role on offense. I don't want to say that was his role on offense, but that's about all he could do. He's definitely not attacking downhill or being a playmaker. Kind of just 3 and
Right.
D type player.
His true shooting percentage is 74.2% right now. That's fucking nuts.
That's actually crazy, bro. Let's
Hey,
hope he doesn't keep it up.
do you think he'll live up to his contract after all that shit talk?
Shit, bro. The way he's playing right now, he's surpassing it. They might have to restructure that motherfucker.
His true shooting percentage is higher than Curry's.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a true shooting percentage stat that came out today that I saw, and I do remember seeing that now that you mentioned that.
Yeah. But as far as Friday's in-season tournament games, I feel like the rest of them are pretty self-explanatory and who's going to win. We got the 76ers playing against Philly, or wow. The 76ers playing against Detroit. They can't play against Philly because they are Philly. Then we got the Hornets playing the Wizards, Nets versus the Celtics. I got Brooklyn there. We got Pelicans playing the Rockets, Jazz versus Grizzlies, and T-Wolves versus the Spurs. I feel like those games you can kind of, I don't want to say it's set in stone of who can win because anyone can win on any given night, of course. But, you know, if Philly loses to Detroit, then God damn it.
Who do you got for T-Wolves Spurs? Let's pick that one to talk about real quick.
You know what? When I was going through the list, I actually kind of realized, you know, this game can actually be a lot better than I think it could. Okay. Timberwolves are 4-2. I didn't realize that they were off to a pretty solid start.
They
Spurs
just
are
beat
3-4.
Boston too.
I'm going
They did,
T-Wolves.
yes. I'll probably go T-Wolves as well, just because they have that more of a veteran presence on their team, and they do have a lot of bigs. And Wemby is definitely going to have to guard one of those bigs. You know, we stated in an earlier episode that the reason the Spurs went and got Zach Collins to go play center is to kind of take that liability off of Wemby on defense, so we can kind of just headhunt more with blocks instead of having to guard a big down low. But against this team, he's not going to be able to escape it. So hopefully they stick him on Rudy Gobert because he simply can't play offense. I feel like that would be very easy on him. But Ant is playing out of his mind right now. Like he's looking like such a complete player out there. He's had such an improvement from last year. It seems like he's only improving. I'm probably going to go with Minnesota on this one.
The fourth quarter of Boston had me crying in my room last night. Go ahead, Vic.
I was just say Rudy Gobert is playing very well defensively too. I can't remember the stat. I saw it this morning. He's like leading the league in like I think defensive like whenever a offensive player is going up on him, I think he leads the league in like lowest shot percentage of making it right now, if that makes sense.
Typical. When Rudy Gobert can't play offense, they got to start diving deep into the defensive stats. I'm just playing. Yeah, man. I think it's hard to root against the Wolves considering they just beat Boston, and it's hard. But I want to say the Spurs just so we can have an argument, but I'm gonna go Wolves too. I don't count the Spurs out. I think the Spurs have a shot at winning. Obviously, any team has a shot at winning, but I think the Spurs can actually beat the Wolves. And I think Wemby could guard Cat or Rudy Gobert. Honestly, I don't think Cat on the perimeter is too much for Wemby to handle, but I do feel like Wemby will be hard for Cat to handle, and especially if Wemby's out on the wing and he has Gobert on him. I mean, we already know how that's going to go down. Gobert can't guard the perimeter, so I think it'll be interesting for Wemby just to see how he reacts depending on how he plays each big. But ultimately, Anthony Edwards is going off. Like Kev said, I'm taking the Wolves.
Yeah, when it comes down to crunch time, I feel like the Wolves are just going to be able to play a lot better. But the Spurs, they have 3 wins. 2 of them are on Phoenix, which is crazy. But,
I'm not convinced Phoenix is a good team yet. I need to see more.
They're not healthy.
I said that prior to the season that I don't really have faith in this Phoenix team, but Devin Booker is another player who just looks so much better this year than he was last year. Like I right now believe, as much as I hate to say it, Devin Booker is a very complete player this year. First game of the season, I believe he had 38 and 6. He was out there. He was mostly playing point out there for Phoenix, and he was distributing the ball very well, which we've never really seen him do because he's never really had to. He's played with Chris Paul his first few years in Phoenix. They were horrible, and they had Eric Bledsoe there. I bet that's a name y'all forgot about. But he's definitely becoming more of a playmaker, and it's kind of scary to see because the dude, we already know he can score whenever and wherever he wants. So
Is when Beal comes back, is Booker still going to play point guard, or is Beal going to play?
I would assume Devin Booker, and I would probably prefer Devin Booker as well. Because like I said, his playmaking just looks so much better than it ever has. And Beal never really struck me as a guy going out there to make plays rather than just score the ball. That's kind of how I always saw Bradley Beal.
Yeah, I agree.
So if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys subscribe to our channel and like the video. If you guys are listening to Spotify or on Apple Music, make sure you guys leave a review for us. It definitely helps us out a lot. And also, if you made it this far into the video, comment down below Miles' chain. I still have it on my hands. Whoever comments that first, I will ship you the chain personally because he's not getting it back. All right, moving on to our next topic of discussion here. The Clippers played their first game with James Harden on Monday, and they ended up taking an L to the New York Knicks. They lost by 14 points. And this game was pretty underwhelming. None of the four major guys of LA, between Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Westbrook, and Harden, none of them broke 20 points. But yeah, New York is a pretty tough team, so I'm not really worried about it. And it was their first game all playing together. But I'm still really confused on how this system is going to work out because I saw a tweet yesterday that said that Westbrook is going to be handling a majority of the point guard role instead of James Harden, which kind of leads me to think that either Paul George or Kawhi Leonard is probably going to have to sacrifice some of their shots taken because if James Harden's not playing that point guard role, he's going to have to be doing something out there on offense, which is probably scoring. He had 17 points, shot 2 for 4 from 3 and 6 for 9 from the field, which isn't bad. But yeah, like I'm still so confused on how they're going to operate on this offense. Like to me, there's really no clear-cut way of how it's going to work. And Paul George said himself on his podcast that sacrifices are going to have to be made on the offensive end. But I still don't really know who's going to make that sacrifice.
I'll tell you what, a good candidate is Paul George after shooting 2 for 11 last night. It's pretty brutal shooting performance for him, but it's weird. I think James Harden is just so much more of a playmaker than Westbrook is, personally. And to have Westbrook handle the ball, I guess it's better for Westbrook to handle the ball than for James Harden to handle it, because then what is Westbrook's worth to this team besides like driving and attacking?
Offensive rebounds, I guess.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic. Excuse me, I just got an ad on ESPN and it's blaring in my headphones, so someone else can go ahead and talk. I'll be listening.
I mean, I'm always going to defend, Westbrook. Even now, I still think he's got some left in the tank. So to me, I don't necessarily disagree with the plan for the Clippers to put a lot of trust into him and say, hey, okay, like you have the reins. We talked a little bit about the Lakers and how they kind of kill players and their ability to score and be good. I think that honestly, his move from Houston and then to LA and now to the Clippers has put him in a position where maybe he doesn't even really believe himself that he's still good. But I think he honestly just needs the right support system around him. I think that with the right coaching staff, with the right direction of the team, he can still play at the level that we've seen him play in for the past few years. Well, not the past few years, but we've seen him play in the past. When we're talking about players that maybe, because we said for the Clippers, who would sacrifice their minutes, who would sacrifice that area of the floor, I do agree with Miles. I think that probably Paul George is the most separated from his prime. I know that he was great when he was playing, in his prime, and when my cats are fighting in the background. Yeah, I think Paul George, it was a phenomenal player, but I think he has probably the most amount of time in between when he was good and now. And I think that he's probably the one who needs to take a little bit of a back seat on this team. But that team is
So
still very strong with Westbrook at the helm and Harden basically doing exactly what he does, which is scoring points, and then Kawhi Leonard as both of those things and more. So
yeah, so I'm gonna sound like a little bit of a hypocrite here, but I'm gonna say it anyway. So I think it's a little bit of an overreaction to say that this new big four won't work, but I don't think it's gonna work personally. I don't know. I don't see this being a winning team. I feel like this is just too many of superstars all together on one team for it to work. I think you need to have that little bit of cohesiveness of players that are role players to for this to be able to work. And I think Clippers are lacking in other areas too, not just ability to score the ball. I think they could do better on the rebounding end. Because if you look at the Knicks game, I think a major component of why they lost that game was the rebounding battle. The Knicks are one of the best teams in the NBA for rebounding right now. They had 18 offensive rebounds. That's a lot of second chance points just getting off that. That Clippers just need to do better rebounding.
It's always so hard to root for the Clippers. I've said this before, but just with the last few years, how this Kawhi PG experiment has gone, it's really hard to root for them. So we'll
Really,
have to see.
really is. Yeah. I mean, I feel like we still haven't even seen it yet for how long it's been going on. But also, just like why another reason why I feel like this team isn't going to work is just the lack of winning culture. The only true winner on this team is Kawhi Leonard. Paul George has never even made the finals before. James Harden is still ringless, and so is Westbrook. They don't, yeah, they have good, solid players that are all time greats, but there's no culture of winning anywhere on this team, which is, again, why I feel like it's not going to work because when they face adversity in the playoffs, which it definitely will, you know, are they going to be able to step up and be able to finish those games on top of the injury history between Kawhi and Paul George as well? Because if those guys go down and you just have Westbrook and Harden out there trying to lead the squad, nah, it's absolutely not going to work. And we've already seen Harden and Westbrook team up many times before, and in Houston, it wasn't anything to talk about. I feel like sometimes people forget that Westbrook was even on the Rockets.
I feel like the most memorable part of that season was the clip from the fans courtside where Westbrook was talking to him in the corner, and then he cut back door and caught the lob. Have you guys seen that video?
Yeah,
That seriously might be the only thing I remember from that experiment was that video. I can't recall a lot of games that I watched them play together, but
yeah. And in the bubble when Westbrook got boomed on by LeBron, I remember that too.
oh, when they left him wide open. That's right. They did match up in the bubble. I remember
Yeah,
that, I guess.
yeah. Again, that those are the only two things I remember from that season. And like what Daniel said last episode of them two like dancing pregame on the
Oh
bench
yeah.
sitting. That's the only three things I remember from that squad.
Was
That
But
was
that's
Westbrook?
so
what
weird.
I can't remember. Was Westbrook and CP3 on the Rockets at the same time?
no.
no,
No.
they were traded
Oh,
for each other.
Yeah.
Westbrook
okay.
was on the Oklahoma that year. And Oklahoma was very solid with CP that year.
Yeah, they made the
They're
playoff. Were
they're
they an
better than
eighth
Houston.
seed? Eighth seed?
Believe they were eighth or seventh, but they made it. Like
I do remember that. With Dennis Schroeder, the six man.
Dennis Schroeder, yeah.
It was so
That was
good.
that was a solid squad. But
Fun
Oh,
times.
I was gonna say. So I thought since we're on the topic of the Clippers, do you guys remember when the NBA tried to like sell the idea of the Battle of LA between the Lakers and the Clippers?
I do remember that.
They still kind of do that, I feel like. Anytime
yeah,
there's
that's
two LA teams.
yeah, that's always going to be a fantasy battle in both minds. But both these teams are struggling. I don't even think it's a battle anymore. It's just who can shoot the bucket less at this point, honestly.
I don't know
Each team is
how
battling themselves.
I don't know how the Warriors have the average oldest age when both LA teams are on their last damn legs. I mean, that's not true with the Lakers, but I think you get what I mean.
Yeah. Well,
I think I look back at the first season with PG and Kawhi when they had Lou Williams, and I guess you can call him prime Trez because he's severely fallen off at this point, but then you have like Marcus Morris, who was young. You got a young and up and coming Zubats. Like there was just so much potential there, and it just like
Dude,
to see it fail is just
it was
it's so
crazy, man.
upsetting, dude. It
It
really
really
is.
is. They had such Morris was there. That's when he was still balling. Like he was
Yeah.
so good on the Clippers during those years. He severely fell off too. It's kind of sad to see. You know, I think all of us here are pretty big fans of the Morris twins, but seeing him fall off really hurt.
Yeah. Tough. Makes him a prime Bulls target though.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's what we do. We get the has-beens.
Derek Favors.
Derek Favors, Garrett Temple. Who else? I don't even want to think about it, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Andre Drummond, low key.
Drummond does his thing out there. I love Drummond on the Bulls.
I feel like they just get old centers like Robin Lopez, Pau Gasol. I guess Vucevic wasn't that old.
Gasol
But
wasn't
no,
that
he wasn't.
bad, I feel like.
Yeah, I guess Pau was. Did he come? He came straight from the Lakers, right? There's no in between team. The Spurs were after the Bulls. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess he wasn't that bad of a signing, to be honest.
Yeah. And he was hooping, but it definitely wasn't the Lakers, pal.
They're just weird signings. Just
They are
weird
just
players.
It's like very random.
It's like players that almost get the job done, but just don't get it all the way there.
That's a good way to put it.
All right, so we're introducing a new little fun segment for you guys today. So warming up for a basketball game and just really anything in general. One very good way to pump yourself up for any event is the music that you got blaring in your headphones. Layup lines are probably one of the best part of basketball games. It was one of my favorite things, always warming up, playing, growing up, was the layup lines, especially hearing like a good song playing over the speakers. It could definitely get you hyped up. So each of us are going to give you guys our favorite songs to hear in the layup lines, maybe songs that could hype us up to score about 6 to 8 points, because none of us were that good.
On 1-5 shooting.
Yeah, get a few free throws in there. But yeah, I'm gonna kick us off here with my 3 tracks. My first track is anything that the Migos released, from Culture to anything before that. I believe the Migos just make very good layup line music. You always hear their songs in the NBA commercials, but more specifically, I'm gonna go with Commando off No Label 2. A lot of people don't know this song, bro. I'm gonna be honest. For the sole reason that Takeoff had one of his best verses ever. R.I.P. Takeoff, it's been a little over a year since his passing. Everyone knows he was my favorite Migo, but what this dude did on this song is fucking criminal. So, I never heard this song in a layup line. I wish I could have, but yeah, pretty much anything by the Migos, more specifically Commando. If y'all never listened to Commando by the Migos, you go ahead and do that. That'll be your new favorite Migos song, because Takeoff just absolutely murdered this beat. Second, I had to throw my 2 boys from Memphis in there. I got Water on Water on Water by Young Dolph and Key Glock. Again, R.I.P. Dolph. He was definitely taken way too young from us. But if I heard this song in high school, warming up for a game, I was for sure scoring 6 points. Like, bro, like this is a song that I love off Dumb and Dumber. There was banger after banger on this album. This is definitely one of my favorite songs that I love. Still listen to it to this day. I would have loved to hear this in a layup line. Get you hype. Then my final song, to one of my favorite rappers from Chicago. I'm gonna go. You didn't know nothing. I'm gonna go No Auto Dirk by Lil Durk. Again, another fire song, beat, flow, everything. It's just there. And then a kind of an honorable mention that I had, because I only picked 3. I gotta go with my boy down south, Young Nudie. Peaches and Eggplants is gonna be in there as well. I don't think any of y'all. I don't think any of y'all. I don't think any of you guys are topping my 3, bro. None of y'all are topping my 3. I know for a fact.
Hey,
I know for a
comment
fact.
below.
Comment below. No one's topping my 3 because Vic and Daniel will probably have a similar list to mine. Maybe I know we kind of like the same artist. Miles though, he likes modern day music, but he has a little bit of an older soul, so he might have some MF Doom in his list.
I ain't putting
But
MF Doom in my shit. Not for a pregame, bro. That's crazy.
Hey, I don't know what you get down to, bro. But yeah, y'all seen my 3. I don't think it's gonna top mine, but you can go ahead and try. So whoever wants to go next.
So for my first song, if I was in a layup line, I'd want Way Back by Travis Scott. It's one of my favorite all-time Travis Scott songs. I think it's just good
Tough.
vibes. If I heard that in layup line, I don't know, I might just get rim stuffed. I don't know.
For a nice little dunk.
I
Yeah.
might sub in the game.
Yeah.
Might take off your warm up.
Yeah. My next song, I'd probably go All of the Lights by Kanye. It's one of my favorite Kanye songs. I think if I heard that, that'd be sick.
Do you bump the intro first, the track before it? Or
Little
do you
interlude.
just bump the interlude before it? Or do you just go straight into All of the Lights?
Straight in.
Damn.
You know, if I'm really fucking feeling it, I'm definitely playing that interlude before.
The interlude is crazy, Vic. You got
It is, bro. It is. Get
All
familiar,
right.
Vic.
So for my third song, I really like Lil Uzi, but my favorite song by him got ruined by this guy I used to work with. Played that song nonstop, so I had to go with my second favorite song, 7 Million. I love that collab with him and Future. I think that's one of Uzi's best tracks. And for an honorable mention, I'm gonna have to go. I didn't think of putting the Migos until Kevin said it, so I'm gonna go with Kelly Price. I think that'd be a fire song.
Kelly Price is another fire song. What Uzi song were you gonna say? Could I
20
guess it
minutes.
maybe?
Oh.
I was gonna guess that too. Damn it! But I swear to
Yeah.
God, I was gonna guess it. I'm not having a LeBron Cat moment, but yeah,
Yeah.
fire song.
We'll pop that up.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Weird. Yeah, solid top 3. I can't lie. Those are pretty good picks.
I like that. I like that a lot. Daniel,
All right.
what you got?
All right. So I'm going to start off with Passion Fruit by Drake just because I think that song like kind
What was
of
that reaction?
That
shows
caught
the
me
vibe.
off guard.
Just cuz like I don't know, that song has always been my go-to for like kind of not I don't want to say calming nerves, but just like relaxing yourself damn near. Like getting yourself into a rhythm, a
Makes
Type
flow.
sense.
shit.
I like
And
that.
then I would probably go Mask Off by Future because I just think like I don't know, good song. Anyway, last one I would say it would be being between two. Number one being Out the Way by Yeet, and the reason why I say that is because there was a video that came out
Yeah.
of Bronny when he was on the court and like in between shots, you know, like he like pump fakes, shoots, and then he's kind of like doing a little bit of the dance with the song too. I think that's a really great way to obviously like warm up, just to have, like you guys have been saying, you know, just a song that kind of gets you comfortable feeling, but also a little bit hype too, right? You want to go out there and punch a motherfucker in the face, like type shit. And then the last one is probably just Skybox by Gunna. That one really isn't a tough one. It's just more of like Gunna's good and I like his music, and that song particularly has kind of that halfway in between vibes and, you know, getting me hype.
I like how you threw our boy Yeet in there. I can't lie. But if I had to throw a Yeet song, I'd probably throw in Rich Minion. I can't
That's
even lie. That's a good one. But
You would
Yo,
pick
that's
that.
crazy.
hey, I'm not gonna lie. When I heard he made a song for the Minions movie, I was like, nah, this can't be it. But then I heard that intro and I was like, nah, this is it. And then he comes over. I count money. Like it was tough, man. He did his thing on that song. But you screwed up on that future pick though. If you're gonna throw in any song by Future, it's got to be too comfortable.
Facts, bro.
Yes, sir.
Facts.
It's got to be too comfortable. You got to let
Y'all
the other
see-
team know that they can't be too comfortable in the layup lines.
Y'all
That
see
would
my
be a
story
fire
today
ass
by
song.
any chance?
I didn't
nobody
did.
watches it.
Instagram like one time today.
All right,
so-
word. All right, fuck you, Vic.
Yeah, just go ahead and give your picks, bro.
All right. All right. First pick. I gotta go with "Feels So Good" by ASAP Mob. That's my shit.
Bro,
Cozy
that
Takes
is
Two.
that is a horribly underrated pick. Holy shit.
Bro, Cozy Tapes
That is
2 gotta be my favorite trap album of all
yeah,
time. That's every song is a banger. Fantano
yeah.
gave that shit a 4. It's not true.
He
Cozy
gave it a
Tapes 2's
4?
got bangers. He gave it a 4. I listened to the
No
review today in
way.
preparation for this, man. But Feels So Good, fire song. All right.
Heat, bro. That was a good ass pick.
Number 2, gotta go with the OG anthem Big by Young M.A.
Let's go.
Shit goes crazy.
Damn, bro. You
Bro,
might have a better three than me. Fuck.
what was
I
the
gotta tell y'all,
what
this
was the
shit goes nuts.
what was the other Young Ma song that went like crazy?
Ooh.
Oh, the fucking
It
damn
was
it.
ooh, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, but they broke though.
Exactly.
Number 3, bro. Kevin, I'm surprised, bro. I expected you to take this one, bro. But Death Row by Young Dolph.
You know what? I was debating between like 5 Young Dolph songs. I picked the Water on Water on Water, but also Meech was in there too. I thought you were gonna pick Meech if you're gonna pick a Young Dolph song.
Meech was your shit. That was your anthem, but nah,
Still is.
Death Row, the tempo's perfect. That's right where I like a trap song. So like with the bass is the melody, that shit's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Especially on like a speaker. I mean, I guess okay, are we talking pregame with like headphones? But like
Not
I'm
like
thinking
layup line.
like I'm
No, no,
thinking
no, layup line.
pregame with like home game speakers. That would bang. That
Yes.
would bang on a home game speaker.
That's what I was kind of like getting at with like over the speakers, stadium's full, like you're in the layup line. Clock just stroked 20 minutes, like you're in the layup line.
Dude, it's so
That's
nice looking intimidating to the other team, and then like you get in, you're not as good, but like they thought you were good before. You know what I mean? All right. And then
shocker.
I got one honorable mention. I'm gonna throw in The Enemy by Big L. If you know, you know. Big L, Rip Legend. Um, always a good one. DJ Premier on production. Wanted to throw a lot of old school hits in here, but I heard y'all picks and I switched mine to a little more modern. So that was one that I had on my original list. So you never heard The Enemy by Big L, give that shit a listen because it's crazy.
Nah, man, you should have stood on your business and went with your 3, man. Screw what we say. I think
Yeah.
you're just trying to make a list better than mine.
Nah, I swear those would be 3. Feel So Good was on my original list.
Okay.
Death Row and Big. Actually was on my original list, but it was an honorable mention. Death Row was not. Death Row I just put on there now.
Big as a fire pick, man. That's a
Yep.
crazy pick.
It's so nice that she sounds like a dude. It's a lot easier to listen to.
Well, no, her beat, her like music is good.
I know it's
Yeah,
fire.
Young Moss tough, bro. I'm not even gonna sit here and lie.
Smoking Purple
But yeah,
LA Lakers is crazy.
yeah. Yellowbone smoking purple LA Lakers, man. You heard her. You know. If you don't, get to learning. Hit the books.
Facts.
Familiar.
Comment down who you think has the best 3 songs.
But that's gonna lead us in right to our next new topic. And that is the way too early MVP talk. Now, it's always fun to do this. We always like to debate throughout the whole season of who's going to take home the MVP. Honestly, I still believe that Jokic is probably one of the strongest candidates, if not the strongest candidate currently. Nuggets definitely have a good enough record right now. He actually just passed LeBron for all-time career triple doubles with 813 less games played, which is quite impressive, especially for a center, because centers historically never got triple doubles like that. And he's also shooting his career best from the field. He has his best field goal percentage that he's ever shot from the field at just over 62%. So if he keeps it up and the Denver Nuggets keep it up, they definitely do look very sharp out there. They're running an 8-man rotation, which I know was like the biggest concern with Denver this year is how good is their bench going to be. Reggie Jackson's definitely doing his thing off the bench. Christian Brown is coming off doing his thing. Zeke Naji, he's doing his thing when he gets in there. I think if Denver keeps it up, they're definitely gonna secure a top seed in the West, and I think Jokic can take home his third MVP.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's slimmed down a lot too. I don't know if you guys noticed. I think like a lot of people are gonna agree if he keeps it up, like you said, that there's no debate that it's gonna go to him because last year, I think it was controversial. I think a lot of people did not want to give him the MVP because of the voters' fatigue. But after just watching him play last season and how he's continued to keep that level of play up, I don't see why you can't give it to him.
So 2 for Jokic.
But I do think it's a close race, though. I think this year you could give it to Jokic. I think Jokic is number one. Two, I'm gonna go. I don't know. Because I really like both these players, but I think I'm gonna have to lean towards Curry at number two, and then three, Luca.
Luka's in my list too. I feel like if he has a year to win it, it's got to be this year.
Oh yeah.
I guess I'll go next. I think Jokic should be everyone's kind of overall pick for MVP this year, just because of like you guys said. I mean, I don't personally believe that Embiid should have won that last year. I mean, for God's sakes, Jokic won basically everything that there is to win last season. So, that says we don't have to go into that situation. But yeah, Jokic is probably going to be my pick. The Denver Nuggets look like they didn't skip a beat going back into the regular season this year. I mean, they're still playing really high level offense, and Jokic is still looking like the dominant center that we saw last year. So I think he should be at the top of everyone's list. Outside of that, I do like the Luca pick just because Luca has been playing out of his mind lately, and he does have the potential to be on a winning team. And if that team can really turn around things this year and make a solid playoff run, I think he would probably be my favorite for MVP outside of the conversation with just Jokic.
Yes, that leaves me, and I'll be the first to say Jason Tatum. With the number 1 seed in the East, it's going to make it a lot easier to win it this year. Bro's averaging 30. I like Jokic. Jokic obviously is always a top candidate, but I do feel like voters fatigue is still a thing even after Embiid. But Luca is also like the Mavericks are winning right now, so it's still a super small sample size. We're only 7, 8 games into the season, something like that right now.
Yep.
I think if they stay on that trajectory, Luca will take it. But he's gonna have to finish. The Mavericks are gonna have to finish 1 or 2 for him to win it. But I think he's due. I'm a firm believer in voters fatigue. We can get into that another day, but if I'm taking a Western Conference player, it's going to be Luca. If I'm taking an Eastern Conference player, I'm going to take Tatum. I think Giannis is always a candidate, but I think with Lillard being there, we're going to see the load get split a little bit. We're not going to see as hard of a carry job for Giannis, which I think is going to help Tatum's odds. So those are my 2 picks, and then Jokic is close 3. I don't want to say Jokic on this pod either because we just had 3 people pick him. So besides Jokic, Luka and Tatum.
Here's the thing with Tatum, because there was a similar situation last year with Tatum, average 30, number 1 seed in the East, and no one even had him in the top 3, which I thought was kind of crazy. I thought he definitely deserved to be an MVP finalist. I feel like he's going to be one of those players that, yeah, he's definitely one of the better players in the NBA, but no one ever really considers him for MVP. And they did just add Porzingis and Drew Holiday to the team. So I feel like it might make it just that much harder for them to consider Tatum for the MVP. But I do think it's kind of BS. Like, I feel like he should have been a finalist last year for MVP, definitely over Giannis too, for just the regular season that they had. But, hopefully this year he can crack that top 3. If I had to predict the top 3 in a perfect world, I would say Jokic, Luka, and Tatum in no specific order. Just those 3 I feel like should definitely be the finalists for MVP if the season pans out the way that I'm expecting it to.
All respect to Shy, to SGA, but
Eh.
I really think that Tatum was better than SGA last season. But
100%.
everyone wanted to talk about SGA being in the MVP conversation despite being a playing team, but it's none of my business. No one wanted to talk about Tatum MVP though.
Did you say Shy was better than Tatum last year?
No, I said I think Tatum was better. but
Oh yeah, he was.
everyone wants to talk about SGA being an MVP all of a sudden.
He's no. Shea is not an MVP. Listen, Shea is great, but there's really not much the kid can do outside of score the basketball. I'm going to be completely honest. Shea is great. Love watching the kid play. But to me, he's just another scorer. Like I'd say he's more closer to like a Donovan Mitchell and Devin Booker than he is to an MVP of the league.
I just think
People can come at me for that. I'm ready to fight for it. But to me, he's just another elite scorer, and we have millions of them.
to your point earlier, I feel like adding Drew and Porzingis to the Celtics is it could be a gift and a curse because I do feel like a lot more people are going to watch Celtics games just because of how dominant they've been to start the season so far. And I think that's going to draw people in to watch their games just to see how dominant they can be at times. I mean, we saw what they did to the Pacers, obviously. So I I think I think that might help his odds a little bit, just to open up the exposure for him. And also having those competent teammates will make it even easier for him to score and assist, I think. Just like in general basketball playing terms. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I do like the Tatum pick, to be honest with you. I like you said, I didn't even realize until you said it that how much he is unconsidered when the MVP standings come around. But I feel like there's just so much players deserving of the MVP award that like a lot of guys are having a lot of great seasons. I feel like of recent years, you know what I'm saying? But Tatum does deserve it. There like a lot of players I feel like are having killer seasons
I feel like an MVP is definitely in his future. It should be at
for
least.
sure.
He's still pretty young. He's a very complete player. I mean, he averages the most rebounds on the Celtics more than their center, if they even really have a true center. He's a great defender. He's a great playmaker. Obviously, we know he can do with the ball in his hands when he's scoring. I think he's definitely deserving to be at least a finalist, at least a top three finalist.
He he's absolutely deserving. I think the biggest reason why he probably isn't in that race is just because of two reasons. Number one, when that team was finding a lot of success, I think that the attention was a lot on like, oh, this Boston team is really good. He hasn't really like and it's probably the Celtics' fault too, but he hasn't really gotten this, what's the word, franchise player kind of role, or like this is our guy, right? I mean, they love to say, oh yeah, Tatum did this, Tatum did that, Tatum's been playing great, but when push comes to shove, he's not the Curry of that team. He's not the LeBron of that team. And I think that when voting time comes, people really throw him under kind of the radar because again, they're just really like, oh well, he's got Jalen Brown and they've got Marcus Smart, not anymore, but they've got a lot of good guys, right? And to kind of counter Victor's point, sure, a lot of guys are doing well in the league, but not all of them are making it to the Eastern Conference, what, 3 years in a row, something like that. So yeah, I mean, he's a phenomenal player, and I think he does deserve to get his flowers, absolutely. It's just so hard because you have so many other players that are, well, not really so many other players, but you have other good options, right, to go against that. So
Honestly, I'm just tired of seeing Jokic, Giannis, and Embiid, man. I don't want to see that anymore. I just want to see someone else.
To be honest with you,
It's so hard though because these guys are just balling, man.
I don't know if I could see Giannis winning another MVP though.
Yeah,
Could we just go through? I'm interested to hear who do you guys think the best player in the NBA is?
Jokic,
Jokic.
100%
So
Jokic.
if we're okay, let's say we're not including Jokic, who do you think it is? Who's second? Because I think Giannis, and
I'd say Giannis too.
Yeah.
I believe Giannis was the best player in the NBA for the past 2 years, but after the season that Jokic had and the kind of just more evaluating before that, I do believe that Jokic is number one and Giannis is number two.
I think Jokic is one, but I think it's extremely close.
I think it's a lot closer than people imagine. I mean, like I said, like I believed it was Giannis the past 2 years, But then, like, after just kind of evaluating the season that Jokic just had, I think he's definitely taken the throne as the best player in the league. But it is very close. The gap is not that big.
I just think Giannis defensively just brings a whole new aspect to that conversation, but we don't have to get into that. I was just curious on what you guys thought.
Gotcha. No, I wasn't trying to say that Giannis is like not good or anything. I just don't think like people are going to consider him anymore for MVP just after he's won it twice, you know.
He repeated, right? He won back to back.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
One of the years, Harden should have won it, though. He kind of got,
Was
it was kind of like a snub,
Harden
was it his
also got
first year?
snubbed Westbrook's year too.
low key.
Was it
But
his
Mr.
yeah.
first
Triple
year?
Double.
That hadn't been done in like a century.
6 seed
Definitely.
stat pad.
6 seed. I agree.
Hey, no,
They were a
come
6
on
seed,
now.
bro. A 6
can't-
seed.
They
You
weren't
can't-
winning.
You
They
can't
weren't winning.
You can't disrespect greatness. That man scored a game winner from half court when he had to average a triple double. Like the deciding game to make sure that he was going to average a triple double during that season, and I think he had 50 that game.
Why
Dude
did
deserved
he
the
why
MVP.
why did he have to average a triple double?
If he secured a
Shit.
triple double that game, it would have secured like him averaging a triple double for the season.
No,
You know?
I'm just saying in general. Like, why did he have to average a triple double? Because it wasn't to win. Because they didn't win.
Hey, 6 seed isn't bad. 6 seed isn't terrible. I mean, I will say that it's not great, but looking back now, like we're arguing about playing teams sometimes and how good the Lakers can do. You know what I mean? So 6 seed isn't bad. I don't know. I absolutely think
That's a good point. The Lakers did just go to the Western Conference Finals with a 7th seed, so that's a
Yeah,
good
but the
point.
Thunder didn't.
There was
They
no
lost
plan.
first round, right? That year?
Yeah. Yeah. MVP went to Cancun early.
I feel all I'm saying is, bro,
See you in Bali, buddy.
what Westbrook did was great. What Westbrook did was legendary. But if you told Kawhi Leonard to go out there and average a triple double every night, no matter what, I think he could do it.
No matter
I th-
what, just go
I
get a
think he
triple
could
double.
do it. I
But-
think
but-
a lot of players could do it. It's just Westbrook did it.
I don't think that's true because a lot of other players would
Jokic
try.
could 100% do it.
Jokic almost did it last year.
Very true.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're trying to, like, you probably, I don't know. No, I don't think so. Man, that was hard to do. To average a triple double, that is something insane to do. And it's not like, again, we're acting like they went winless. They were a 6 seed, so they obviously, didn't do horribly. And I don't know. I just think that overall, when you look at their season, like that is an incredibly tough thing to do, especially with the way that the league looked at that time. It was insane.
Yeah, it's always one thing I always like to bring up in defense of Westbrook's triple double season is, everyone says anyone could do it, but he was the one that went out and did it. So healthy debate. I don't know how we started talking about that, but I'm glad we did. I'm glad we discussed that. What were we talking about before that?
MVP race, I think.
MVP race.
Yeah.
That's right. Back to the meat and potatoes. Who do we see as a candidate besides like the big ones? Do we see any dark horses coming through? Wembanyama? I'm just kidding.
If the Spurs make the playoffs, the media will definitely make a push for it.
Oh yeah.
You already
Dylan
know
Brooks.
that. Brooks. Shit. If he keeps shooting 60% from three, and if he does so, putting up 12 threes a game, it'd be kind of hard not to, no?
Yeah.
Maybe a dark horse could be. I don't see it, but Donovan Mitchell. He's averaging 32 right now.
Cam Thomas.
D-Mitch could be in there.
Can't tell. Maybe most improved.
True.
He
Wait,
could win
I
most
don't
improved for sure.
I don't think we mentioned him in our most improved debate.
No, we were thinking Mikal Bridges.
Or Poole. I remember we talked about
Who,
Poole.
Cam Thomas?
Yeah.
Well, that's because he just now started to do well again. The last time he was playing like this was last year, like randomly during the like middle of the season. So like,
And he just got in the starting lineup for Brooklyn this year. Even the
Bro,
first like 2 games of the season, he wasn't even a starter.
did you guys see that deep ass three he hit over Damian Lillard
Yeah,
from the logo? That was nuts.
yeah. There's every time I see an Instagram post about Cam Thomas, they'll be like Cam Thomas had yada yada whatever points, pure hooper. That's what he is. And like, and it'll always be in all caps, bro. He's a pure hoop. He's a pure hooper, bro. He hoops.
An ancient funny.
Ain't shit
Funny.
ever funny.
Hey, did you guys see that one? I can't remember who he did that turnaround jumper over. Do you know what I'm talking
Jalen
about?
Brown.
Yeah, so when he did that, someone on Twitter like subtweeted it and was like, I know when a player is playing high.
I know a player playing high when I see one.
Yeah.
I love that caption with the Fred Van Fleet clip where he like loses it. Do you know what I'm talking about? Have y'all seen that?
the only player I've ever seen lose it was LeBron that one time when he didn't get the foul call, and he fell
Oh
to
yeah,
his and bro fell to his knees. I was watching that
yeah.
game live. I think it was with
Dude,
you.
I was
He
watching
looked
that
like,
too.
bro. He looked like Randy Orton after an RKO.
That was actually that was bad.
Dude, that was
Yeah,
crazy. And then Pat Bev brought the camera over to the
that was
fucking
actually
ref.
that was the funniest shit I've ever
To
seen,
be
bro.
fair, that was a horrible call.
That was
Yeah,
terrible.
Like it
it was a horrible no
horrible.
call.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I meant. But
Horrible.
Dude, he was on all fours, hitting the ground and shit, man. I've never
Yeah.
seen someone react like that before.
I've never seen a grown man throw a temper tantrum like that.
That was
the lead up,
crazy.
the lead up, because I guess three of us were watching it live. I don't know if Victor you were too, but like the lead up to it was just insane. Like you like as you were watching your screen, you just saw like every emotion go through this man's head in one like 3 seconds. He was like, and then he falls down.
It was so crazy.
What about the Pat Bev tip dunk that game? You guys remember that?
Yeah, I do
Right
remember
before it?
the putback dunk. Yeah,
That was
I was like,
great.
I think that was the first dunk of his career.
It
Like
was
no
like
bullshit.
it was in such a long time. I know that. It was like
Yeah.
3 seasons worth of time or some
Yeah.
shit. Like some crazy.
Speaking of players randomly hitting a put down, did you guys see the video of Kyrie doing it?
No, I actually did
Yeah,
not
I
see
did.
that.
He caught a lob from like damn near the 3-point line and threw it
Oh,
down one-handed.
shit.
Yeah, it wasn't in game. It was like some like a Rutgers or what's the other one?
Rutgers.
He wouldn't be able to dunk in game.
Yeah, probably not.
Kyrie has very sneaky bounce though.
He does.
He's got a very sneaky personality too.
Dude,
Kyrie?
come on. Leave him
No, his
alone, man.
personality is not sneaky at all. He makes his shit known.
He does. Yeah, if there's one thing
yeah.
he does is it makes what he's thinking known.
My
Yeah,
little
no,
diva.
he doesn't have a sneaky personality at all. Miles is feeling a little lightly salted over there, but the Boston Celtic days,
I
but,
am per
we're
usual.
over it.
That team
All right.
probably could have won a championship if they were all good.
You don't have to remind me.
So that wraps up this week's episode of Good Morning Let's Basketball. We appreciate all the love and support that we have been receiving the past couple weeks. Still on our goal of 1,000 subscribers. We hope to hit that soon with the love and support of you guys. Make sure to share our videos with your friends and family. Be sure to stay in contact with our reels on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Be sure to sub to our YouTube channel and like the video. And we'll see you guys next week.